Hello and welcome back. Welcome to our next video looking at the spell animations new for Warlords of Draenor, seeing what's been updated, what has not been, what's new, what's not. Today, in this video, we're going to be taking a look at the Hunter class. I'm fairly familiar with Hunters, not necessarily endgame, but familiar enough with their spells to feel comfortable definitively saying what's new, what's not. Not that that necessarily matters a whole lot, because I figure if you know what you're looking for, then you know whether I'm wrong or not, and so it really doesn't matter to you. We're going to start off looking at marksmanship. Marksmanship is my preferred spec of choice for hunters. I know for a while Beastmaster has kind of been the go-to. Marksmanship has kind of gained some ground in live. And I know for a random bit there in Cataclysm, a couple years or so ago now, feels like just yesterday, man, that was a while ago now actually. But even survival was the spec of choice. So hunters have gone through some interesting ups and downs, but I feel like regardless they always tend to be pretty high on the damage charts, regardless of whether you're looking at it from a PvP or PvE angle. Now before we do get started, I think it is worth mentioning that hunters get, or specifically marksmanship hunters I should say, get an interesting new skill in their level 100 talents. Now obviously this is not an animation, but I feel like it's worth mentioning because obviously it does affect the look and feel of your character. And that is our third choice on our level 100 tier, and that is Lone Wolf. Basically it actually gives you a bonus, or it benefits you as a hunter if you do not have a pet active, which I think is kind of cool. Because obviously Beast Mastery focuses on the pet, the emphasis is on the pet, and that is going to be the main source of a lot of your damage. I think it's pretty cool that Blizzard is offering some different options in the way you play your hunter, in that if you're really not interested in a whole lot of pet control or pet management, which I know can be kind of a turn-off for some people, you can just ditch the pet altogether and just focus on yourself as a ranged DPS class. So again, anytime there are more options or more ways to play and still be viable and relevant to the game, I think that's an awesome choice. So good job and good choice there, Blizzard. And of course, if you still are a marksmanship hunter but want to play with the pet, there are a couple other options here for you as well, which we will look at. But first we're going to just kind of look at some of our baseline spells and such as a hunter, see what's changed, what hasn't. Now first thing you will notice is marksmanship is that we no longer have arcane shot. So taking a look first at steady shot, not too much really different there. Again, just a pretty basic, straightforward shot. You can see a little effect on the arrow, which looks more like some velocity behind it, but again, it is still castable while moving. Definitely a spammable skill. Next is going to be our aimed shot. So it looks very similar, also castable while moving, but it does take focus. So again, not something you're necessarily going to be spamming, but I know it hits like a truck. Trap launcher still active. If you'll notice too, there seems to be a little bit more of an enhanced effect or a polished effect on that as well, which is pretty cool to the hunter. Again, just adds a little more dramatized and stylized effect to it. So again, a little more dynamic play in your choice of traps there, or for your traps I should say. Next is explosive trap. So again, same launching animation, just obviously different colors. As you can see, the fire still around the target there. And last but not least, freezing trap. Now this one's kind of cool because it actually shares the new updated icicles model that we saw with mages, looking at mages, when you can talent into, I believe it was called Icy Nova or something along those lines. Basically your updated Frost Nova skill. So hunters get that updated icicle effect on their freezing trap, which is pretty neat. Next we're going to look at Chimera Shot. Instant cast. This has a little bit of a green effect around it. We still get our updated HUD here for our Thrill of the Hunt, but I do want to take a look at Chimera Shot one more time. So still that bluish green little animation around it. Pretty nifty. How about multi-shot? So again, as you can see, still a Similar effect, not a whole lot updated there. I do feel like the textures on the velocity, or at least the magical aura surrounding those arrows flying off, has been updated a little bit in the sense it just looks a little more refined. Again, obviously there's not a whole lot you can really do with it because it's a pretty simple, straightforward animation, but it's cool that it does seem to be polished a little bit. Taking a look now at Wyvern Sting. So still, a lot of our shots, a lot of our baseline shots look the same. Not a whole lot different there. How about our new spell interrupt, counter shot? So that one looks a bit different. And that is a little bit very streamlined, bluish effect to it, and it does tend to shoot off a lot quicker than, say, our other shots do. Disengage still looks the same. Not a whole lot really different you would expect there, which again is totally fine. Tranquilizing shot. So still the same. Deterrence. So deterrence still has these swirling little axes around you. Nifty, nifty. How about rapid fire? So rapid fire still the little circle runes around us that flare up. An aspect of the fox. So that one, a little bit of a little fox-like animation there that goes up around our character. Feigned death. Basically just enacts the death animation for your character. I feel like hunters have gotten hit with the ability prune pretty heavy. We have all of our baseline skills up really, except for of course the different aspects. So you're looking at aspect of the cheetah there. Aspect of the pack, so still the same look as aspect of the cheetah. Eagle eye still looks the same there. But now what I want to do look at really quick before we take a look at some of our other talents is I want to look at Lone Wolf. We get this ability, which basically gains the raid buff capabilities of your pets while you do not have them active. So you're not going to take a nerf to your group utility as a hunter if you choose to go with Lone Wolf, because that was always a lot of the reason behind picking particular pets. You wanted certain buffs to bring along to the raid or to your arena team, and so Blizzard is not taking that away from you as a hunter if you choose to go with Lone Wolf, so you can still enact those bonuses that you get from each one. And no spell animation there. Now what I'm curious is, can you, and you can actually change these mid-combat, it looks like, which interesting. Again, being able to macro a lot of these in or around your playstyle and into your action bar, I think that will be very, very interesting, just to see how well that's pulled off. Again, you can probably switch some of it up, and I don't know if it's overcomplicating gameplay or not, but depending on if your caster wants to burst, you can pull out, again, your Lone Wolf, Wisdom of the Serpent, increases spell power by 10%, and so, or things of that sort. I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking it, but either way, I think it's cool that you get different buffs for each one. There's no animation for it yet, so we'll just go through real quick, and I want to read off what each of the buffs do. You get Power of the Primates, which increases strength, agility, and intellect by 5%. Again, Wisdom of the Serpents, spell power increased by 10%. Haste of the Hyena, haste increased by 5%. Ferocity of the Raptor increases your crit chance by 5%. Fortitude of the Bear, stamina by 10. And then Grace of the Cat, master increased by 550. So some pretty substantial buffs, and so I feel like hunters are going to be popular for a lot of group play if they go with this talent, because again, they can kind of fill in the roles of a lot of different buffs, regardless of who else you have in your group. So that's kind of cool. Helps give hunters a place in any group, so kudos to that. I think is pretty cool. Let's take a look at Binding Shot. So Binding Shot again is the one where it drops the icy looking arrow down at the feet of your target and it binds them to it. So still a similar effect. We'll save Intimidation for Beast Mastery since we're rolling without a pet right now. Exhilaration. Exhilaration is a skill that heals you and your pet, so that just simple quick green little flash of light there with the medical symbol there across it. Iron Hawk and Spirit Bond are both passive. Let's look at Fervor. So Fervor, little purple and blue electrical looking effect on that one. Taking a look now at Dire Beast, which does still summon a random little animal there for us. And it does still give us focus as the beast attacks. Next talent we're going to look at is a Murder of Crows. This one's kind of fun looking too. Just summons a ton of crows down to attack the target. So still pretty similar to what's in game now. It seems to last quite a while with a 2-minute cooldown. Lasts for 30 seconds. The effect doesn't target, so essentially every minute and 30 you can have it up. So kind of crazy. Seems to be doing some pretty decent damage too. I'd be curious to see what it does on actual players. We're going to save Stampede for Beast Mastery, and we're going to move on down to our level 90 tier, which includes Barrage, Power Shots, and Glaive Toss. So taking a look real quick at Barrage, I think this one out of all of them looks the coolest, and would probably roll with this one for marksmanship, just for fun factor. Whether it's viable or not, I don't know. I haven't really jumped into any skirmishes yet with a Hunter, but I'm quite curious, because Hunter is one of the classes I'm definitely flirting with playing at level 100 come Warlords of Draenor, simply because of the lone wolf aspect. Kind of cool. But anyways, we're going to take a look at Barrage. Just a relentless channeling strike of just attacks, and that's on a 30-second cooldown. So as of right now, unless anything changes, every 30 seconds you can just drop that on the target, and it's pretty intense. And the reason it's kind of a big deal is because I don't think you can cast it while moving unless you activate Aspect of the Fox. But what's cool is Hunter's Marksmanship Mastery, which basically when you stand still for 3 seconds you gain sniper training for 6 seconds, which increases your damage, shot range, and critical strike chance by X%, which of course does scale with your mastery. So it actually encourages and rewards you for standing still as a hunter. So as you can see, it does quite a bit of damage there, and again you'll see the buffs and the damage that we're going to do while standing still tends to increase. And of course, the nice buff that we get from our Grace of the Cat, pretty nifty, methinks. So foregoing now our Lone Wolf buff, which is okay, I do want to take a look at Focusing Shot. Oh, that's kind of a cool effect. Dang it! Paladin, move. You're ruining my immersion. You're killing my immersion factor. Has nothing to do with the fact that we're recording. You're killing my immersion. Scumbag. On Focusing Shot, no cooldown. Interesting. Usually when you get a buff like that, it tends to incur a cooldown. The animation on it is pretty cool looking though. It kind of has that absorbed charging look to it, like you're charging up a powerful shot, so that's kind of nifty. I do want to look at Exotic Ammunition. Exotic Ammunition is very, very interesting mechanic. I think it's a cool idea. Again, just adds a little bit more versatility to the Hunter gameplay. Definitely a kind of a different feel that they're going for, which definitely takes it out of just the typical cookie cutter feel. And again, I'm not sure how viable any of this is, so eventually in the end it could end up being quite cookie cutter, but I like the idea of options that we're getting. So we'll take a look at Frozen Ammo. Each of these does have a 3-second cast time, but it empowers your shots and things to add different effects. So now they're slowed by 50%. You can see just the frozen little animation there on it. Now the thing is, you can cast these while in combat. You can cast these while the other effect is up on the target. So now we're looking at our Incinerary, which, as you can see, not as dramatic as the icy effect, but still you can see it on there. Some of our arrows are inflamed, and it does increase or add some fire damage to our auto shots, I believe is what it says. Yes, auto shot. But it also adds to all enemies within 8 yards, so it's just the initial target and things around it. So let's take a look, see if it jumps over here. Yeah, see, as you can see, it's jumping over to the side. You can see the explosive hit on the other target. I think I'd like to see maybe the explosive effect be a little more dynamic. but I guess it's not necessary, but it would be kind of cool just to see. And then let's take a look at poisoned ammo. Each auto shot deals additional nature damage every 16 seconds, or over 16 seconds. I'm curious how much that's hitting for. So a decent percentage. As you can see, it's got those green little orbs around the target, little spewing off of it, so you can see which effect is active. These shots used to be to where the effect lasted long enough for you to switch them out. I don't know if it still necessarily does if you're a good hunter, but it seems to be fixed to where now you're unable to alternate them quick enough to where you can have all three effects up at the same time. But who knows, we'll see what happens with it when it comes to live. Taking a look now at Beast Mastery. Now we do have Arcane Shot as Beast Mastery, which still looks very much the same, just blue aura around on our arrows. Nothing too fancy or different there, updated. Taking a look at Cobra Shot, which is a charged, but it does have the green effect around it. And if you're able to kind of zoom up and get a good look at it, it does have the effect of a snake around the arrow that you're flinging at your target. So it sticks true to form, and as you would expect, has a cobra around the shot. Taking a look now at Stampede. Still summons the zoo of critters around the target, attacking them, mauling them to death with whatever you have, and I believe that still is able to be customized based on what pets you have in your bank. Yeah, focus fire really quick. So still a little bit of a green aura around us, with the little crisscrossed arrows there to identify the spell itself. And how about Bestial Wrath? Our beast still grows in size, gets red, lets the target know it's going to be doing a crap ton of damage to it. Same thing with Kill Command. Not really too much of an animation there on it. Just kind of does its thing with your pet attacks. Let's take a look now at Power Shot. Power Shot is our middle talent in our level 90 tree. Oh, dang, that's intense. That was hard to kind of keep track of. I want to see if we can take one more look at Power Shot, see how the range on this thing is nuts. So crazy little red effect, some crazy velocity on that. Looks pretty cool. Let's take a look now at Glaive Toss. So still very similar effect there on the glaives. Throws those two gnarly looking yellow glaives at the target. They seem to move a little bit quicker than they do in live. Maybe that's just me overthinking this. Not quite sure. Survival. Survival is one of the more interesting specs to me, I think. Mostly because I think it's gone through the most changes out of all the hunter specs. Originally, when WoW first came out, it was actually called Outdoorsmanship, if I'm not mistaken. Definitely a funny name. Glad they changed it. Survival is a much better choice, I would think. But we'll take a look at Camouflage first, because we have not looked at that. I've been kind of personally saving it for Survival, because hunters, unlike some of the other classes, our talents pretty much stay the same regardless of spec. And so do most of our baseline skills. There are a couple changes, obviously, if there's some other ones, but for the most part we stay the same. But we'll take a look at Camouflage real quick. So still the same look and feel to it. And if you do glyph for it, I believe you can do it while moving, which is totally cool. You still have Cobra Shot and Arcane Shot. Concussive Shot, all your traps remain the same. The only two skills you really get that are completely different are Explosive Shot, which is on a 6-second cooldown, which just launches the standard arrow looking effect at the target with a little bit of a red trail behind it. It does have that dot on the target, so they take some extra fire damage. And then there's Black Arrow, which looks more actually purplish, but that's okay. But it does deal shadow damage, which is pretty nifty. But that does about do it for the hunter. Most of our skills pretty much stay the same. There was barrage going off while moving. Very interesting. Does it stay? I'm curious actually. Hold on. I may have given some bad information. So it is usable while moving regardless of specs. That's interesting for a channeled skill. Kinda cool. I can see it being more effective if you take advantage of your mastery for marksmanship. But yeah, that is Hunters in a nutshell. Marksmanship, beast mastery, and survival. I hope you enjoyed it. Hunters definitely look like an interesting class to me. I am very intrigued to see about leveling one up or boosting one with my boost to level 90 with the purchase of Warlords of Draenor. Haven't decided yet what I'm really going to boost up yet. I don't really want to spread myself too thin and try to play too many classes to where I don't get good at any of them. That would be no good. But definitely intrigued by Hunters. I like what they're doing with them, where they're going. I'd be curious to hear what some people who actually play Hunters as a main class think of the changes. I think the mastery behind marksmanship is really, really cool. The skills that you're getting, definitely pretty cool, pretty dynamic feeling. I do like the way they're kind of enhancing and allowing you to feel like you're actually specializing in bows and long-range combat or pet. Definitely enhancing that feel of spec, because I feel like on live right now, even though you're a marksmanship hunter, you still have the pet out there and you have to worry about pet management, pet control, and it kind of takes away from the immersion factor, I think, of just being a lone long-range sniper, Deadeye type class. So again, the versatility I think is really cool. But enough of me rambling. Thank you so very much for watching. Thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit that subscribe button. Stick around for more content. Everything from the rest of our spell animation videos to skirmishes, or blind skirmishes I should say, from some classes I'm not really familiar with. Obviously more warrior PvP and warrior coverage. But that's going to be it for me, so I will see you guys next time.